Was Jey Uso's short WWE World Title reign always the plan? WWE edited out a Vince McMahon mention on SmackDown, and some original plans for AEW All In have been revealed. Stay tuned for all the deets. Now, if one thing has been properly permeating my subconscious this week, it's been Angry Dad Rikishi. Angry Dad Rikishi, sticking up for his boys, telling it like it is.
Not just his boys, his entire family.
Yeah.
If anyone in that family takes a loss, takes any kind of backlash, he is there. He's got their backs. And obviously, recently we did have Jey Uso lose his World Heavyweight Championship.
And it was, by all things considered, a fairly short reign. But according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Jey Uso was apparently always planned to have a short run with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And it stated that when the decision was made to have Jey Uso win the title at WrestleMania, the plan was always for him to have a short reign and lose it back to Gunther. It's unknown if the title switch was always planned for an episode of Raw, but it has apparently always been the plan to have it back on Gunther before Goldberg's retirement match.
Yes, so Jey wins it at the Rumble, obviously, goes on to
50
WrestleMania.
50 odd days he's held it.
Yeah, round about that. He's had 3 title defenses, including the one he lost it in.
Yeah.
It's been a short title reign. It feels kind of like WWE was like, we're going to strike while the iron's hot. This guy is super over.
The whole arena's going yeet.
Exactly. Let's put the belt on him. And short title reigns aren't a bad thing. Short title reigns are great. We had Roman hold a world title for 4 years. I am more than happy to have a short one.
I'm not saying let's go back to like 1999 levels of just hot swap and everything, playing hot potato with it. But at the same time, I think that it's nice to have titles change hands quite a bit, because if they don't change hands quite a bit, it just feels like that there's no viable challenger.
Especially in the fact that in the past few years, it's felt like realistically the only time the titles are changing hands is at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes everything feel less important. And as much as the fact that Jey Uso was, I enjoyed him more than most people. I will admit that fully. I feel like his in-ring work, while it isn't great, it's fun. He's very great for the live experience. His world title reign was a little underwhelming, and it ran its course essentially. And the way they put the title back onto Gunther, he'd been wrestling that weekend. He was fighting someone else's battles. He was underprepared for what is one of the greatest wrestlers of the current era.
Yeah, but I think that ultimately it doesn't really feel like they really set Jey up for this monumentally huge long title run. I think it was always going to be something that wasn't going to be like a years long thing. And I think, as I said, surely if titles are changing hands more often than they have been in recent years, it means that the division is hot. It means that competition is there. It means that people are sort of at each other's throats all the time, desiring that title. So I'm all for belts just jumping around. Sorry, Big Quiche.
Yeah, and I'm really worried that this World Heavyweight title is going to play a bit of hot potato because we already know who the next challenger is.
We do, and it's in his last ever match, which is now being confirmed by WWE. They confirmed that Gunther versus Goldberg for the World Heavyweight Championship is indeed Goldberg's retirement match. It, of course, wasn't stated on Raw when it was initially announced that it was going to be happening, that this was the big farewell for Goldberg. I think a lot of people have known it was going to be the farewell for Goldberg, given where it's happening, given that it's going up against a massive show at the same time.
What's very strange is, though, it wasn't mentioned on Raw. They actually, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, they went under their allotted time on Raw for that promo. So Goldberg just didn't actually
Don't say under just because he's a bit shorter now.
He's a little bit shorter. He was noticeably a little bit shorter. They did go under. Goldberg didn't mention it was his retirement match. WWE now confirming that. We all knew that. I'm not convinced it actually is his retirement match, because two things. I don't think he's going out on a loss. That's not Goldberg. 2, it's for the World Heavyweight title, so if he wins, it's not like he's going to vacate it. That would be weird.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get a cash-in. Maybe. I think Seth might get involved, and we get Goldberg Seth or Goldberg Breaker. I will be happy.
Goldberg Breaker is
if we get Goldberg Breaker.
That was what I wanted for Goldberg's retirement initially. Was I wanted Breaker to retire Goldberg. it would feel like a passing of the torch to a much, 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 much brighter torch. But it would feel kind of definitive to have someone who I guess occupies that Goldbergian position in a roster to be the one to fell Goldberg once and for all. I do think you're right. It would be a bit of a shame for Gunther to lose the title straight away to Bill and then have Bill lose it to Seth. But I feel like if this is Goldberg's retirement, fine, but ultimately I would have preferred Breakker to be the one to put him down.
I just can't see Goldberg going out on his back in his last ever match.
Maybe it's like a TKO or something.
Maybe
he's trying to get up and he's like Flair crawling to his knees and he's like, come on, spear me.
Then Bret Hart interferes and helps Gunther win. Maybe
gets
we'll
a receipt on the cake.
Yeah, he does. Goldberg does feel bad about that, to be fair.
He does. But moving over to last night's episode of SmackDown, it was revealed by the commentary team on last night's SmackDown that Elton Prince is currently sidelined with an injury. There's not really a lot of details around it.
Not too many details around it. This was just a mention on the commentary team. Not exactly sure where it actually happened, but he has been out of action, so this is just confirmation that he is out with an injury and he's dealing with something. His tag team partner, Kit Wilson, obviously faced Hikuleo last week prior to SmackDown on the dark match, so he's been in singles competition. Maybe we'll see them back as a tag team soon. Hopefully he recovers from this injury.
Fingers crossed, and fingers crossed it's nothing major and he'll be back nice and quick. But it's not the only interesting thing that was revealed on last night's SmackDown, because WWE showed a video package on the episode highlighting the history between, one of the greatest feuds of the modern era, Cena versus Punk, didn't they?
They did indeed. Now, if you watched our previous news video earlier today, you'll have seen that John Cena had a little bit of a shooty pipe bomb off himself, and we got a little throwback with a video package showing some of the CM Punk's pipe bomb from 14 years ago. And I hate the fact that it's 14 years ago.
Oh, you're starting to feel like me now.
I'm starting to feel I'm starting to feel the age,
Back
Sam.
in 1987,
clips of
there was
CM
this thing called Degeneration X.
What? Who? I've never heard of them. CM Punk's pipe bomb was shown, and one of the most iconic lines is the fact that he's like, there's one thing you're better at than me, John. That's kissing Vince McMahon's ass. However, they completely edited out the mention of McMahon, so it just said, that's kissing ass. And there was a weird cut point.
Didn't even do the Kid Rock radio edit. They could have done.
There was a weird jarring cut. They needed like a little a cross dissolve, a cross fade on that, a little exponential fade on that to make.
Unless they were drawing attention to the fact that they've cut Vince out.
Maybe.
This could be all subconsciously there.
If it was any other promo, they might have got away with it. But for 14 years, people have known this off by heart. They know it word for word, line by line. There is no getting around the fact that we know you've cut that name out. You've cut Vince's name out.
Are you now campaigning to have Vince McMahon's name said back on TV, Fraser?
No. No. I am saying it was very obvious.
I know why. Like, obviously, we all know why they'll have cut it out, but it's an interesting thing nonetheless, especially with the news recently that Vince McMahon is potentially looking to get back into some form of sports field, with a lot of people seeming to suggest that he's going to end up back in wrestling in one way or another, outside of WWE. But I think that you can't be having his name on programming. No. You just can't be doing it.
I do agree with the decision to cut his name out of there. It's just really, really interesting to see, because this is the first time they've shown any flashback footage for this example. In the WWE games, they've blurred Vince's face in historical footage. So
they've cut around him, however they can.
I'm intrigued to see how they do this going forward when they get to the Hall of Fames, for example, and they show video packages of people. And Vince has got a huge impact on people's storyline careers. How they cut around it. And this was one example of them going, we're just going to do a little cut point. Yeah. And it worked. Kind of.
Well, looking to the other side of the fence, AEW are obviously gearing up for their biggest show of the year, All In, which is for the first time going to take place in the grand state of Texas.
Huge
the Lone Star State. But there's been like a lot of speculation heading in. Obviously, the company lost Mariah May. She ended up going to WWE. There's been a lot of kind of speculation around the Mercedes Moné situation. But apparently, the original All In plans involved Mariah May. But when it was made clear she wasn't staying in the company, they pivoted toward Mercedes Mercedes Moné. Now, one of the original plans could have seen Mercedes Moné having a rematch with Athena, which the Wrestling Observer Newsletter has revealed that sources close to Moné say she was willing to lose to Athena in the Owen Hart Cup in order to set up a match for the Stadium show.
It's both huge matches, right? Mercedes, Athena, Mercedes and Tony. Huge matches. I think I'm more on the side of wanting to see Tony versus Mercedes because of how huge they are in the divisions, but equally the Athena match was really great in the Owen, and she's held that Ring of Honor championship for so long.
Ultimately, like, I think when you're just looking at flat sort of, you know, the product as a whole, Toni Storm is the biggest thing AEW has. She is the biggest thing AEW has. Like, there's no doubt about it. I feel like she's done like wonders for attracting more eyes to the product. It's been very unconventional. It's been very unique. It's been everything that AEW was kind of supposed to be. And I think that in the way that it's just different. It's something completely
it's unique.
different.
She's really unique, and she's captured the counter programming.
Not saying it was all supposed to be black and white and stuff, so stop angry typing. But you know what I mean? Like, in the sense that this is something that I don't see working on the other side of the fence, but it's being capitalized on, and it's huge. Now, not to downplay Athena at all. Athena's been incredible, but I just think that is the bigger match, as you said, is Mercedes versus Tony. But I'm not going to lie, I'm getting tired of the Mercedes crack.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of people feeling
I've got
similar.
more belts.
Yeah, she's doing the belt collector gimmick.
I've got even more belts.
And it's just mounting up and mounting up.
Lost one, but got 6 more belts.
It kind of feels like she's going to definitely win. And
then what, though? And then what? She's beaten everybody. There's no viable contender.
Maybe that is when we get the Athena match. Maybe it's all going to end up with Athena. I would like that. I am
hoping for a massive shock that's gonna make me feel like a complete idiot. But I'm just sort of watching the Mercedes situation develop, and I'm like, well, where's it ending? Where's it going? What are we gonna do with it?
Yeah, I mean, eventually looking back on how Kenny Omega, for example, did the belt collector gimmick, it worked for him. I think I'm a disagreement there. I do think it's working for Mercedes to make her such a big star. And when you compare it to how Kenny did, you get that downfall. And when she starts losing those belts, and it's like, oh, there's one weak link, and that's it.
Shouldn't your focus just have been from day one on getting the AEW Women's World Title, because there's no bigger prize in wrestling?
Why is
true, it so we've got to get 15 belts from all over the world? And I get that there's partner promotions and everything else, so that makes sense. But like I feel
too
like
much, too many belts.
In a way, in essence, I guess, sort of cheapens the AEW Women's World Title if you've got somebody there with 7 belts and this is just going to be another belt.
It's just an extra one.
Yeah,
maybe. I guess we'll wait and see when it comes to All In, whether she's going to leave with that championship.
Give her a punished Okada undoing. She's going to start losing her mind. That's what I want.
Might get it.
Well, that's it for your second dose of lovely bumper weekend wrestling news. We've got a couple of little things to mention here, though. Coming up on the channel this Sunday, 5 p.m. tomorrow, 5 p.m., we have the debut of an all-new show, Pain Per View. It's going to be premiering right here on the channel, so get over there right now. I think the room will be live for it. You'll be able to get.
You can wait.
Yeah, you can wait. Wait all the time through.
But if you don't want to wait, you can go to patreon.com/Cultaholic, and you can watch the video right now. The director's cut. Mr. Owen Mawson worked very, very hard on it. I had a watch through the other day. It's very good. And
it's been getting a really good response from everybody who's seen the full cut so far. So can't wait for you all to see it. But we will catch you if there's any more news that breaks in a little bit. Bye.